In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Get ready to fight from within. You're about to go behind enemy lines.
Roger, 3-2. Goliath copies all. Go ahead. Target is surrounded by multiple firms entering what appears to be a residential area. Requesting permission to engage.
From the People's Republic of New York City, you're now going behind enemy lines with Gene Baradelli and Russ Gallo.
And you are now behind enemy lines. Hey there, how you doing, America? Gene Baradelli here with you. Russ Gallo in the house. What's going on, bro? Oh, you okay? You okay? Do I gotta get the guy? I gotta get the guy. Hold on. Where's the guy?
I got the Hillary call.
You're right? Oh, man. It's catching, isn't it?
I'm all right.
You're okay? You need some water?
I'm
Ready to go?
right.
At least you got here on time this week. That's okay. Listen, folks, we got a great show. Check us out at www.behindenemylinesradio.us. You want to find out more about the show, but tonight we got a good one. I know I say that every week, Russ. But
you do. I was actually curious, like, how do you know?
We're actually delivering this week. Because, good friend of the show, the guy who put Russ and Gene on the map, at least such as we are, David Keene, former president of the NRA, former executive director of the American Conservative Union, currently the opinion editor of the Washington Times, coming on to talk about his new book, Shall Not Be Infringed. It was a great interview. Wish you were here for it. Another one that I guess I aced you out of. I do them during the week now. I mean, because, with the new law firm, I get to make my schedule a little bit, and I can do that.
If I remember correctly, didn't we give this guy Keene the Behind Enemy Lines bump and got him onto the O'Reilly Factor that one time?
Yes, he actually, back then, it was the Brooklyn GOP radio bump, and it was O'Reilly, and it was CBS This Morning. Yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah, seriously. He put us on the map and got us to where we're going. And we're going to be talking a bunch of different topics. One of them you alluded to with your spitting all over the microphone. Thank you for that, by the way.
I always clean up.
Yeah, you clean up after yourself well. At least we got that out of you. All right, so Hillary, we're now analyzing her coughing.
Shh, you're not allowed to ask that, Gene. Don't ask.
I'm not allowed to ask what? I didn't ask anything yet.
Oh, all right. You're alluding to her health, and we're not supposed to do that.
Why aren't we supposed to do that, by the way?
No, we're not supposed. That's it.
But why not?
No, you're not supposed to know.
But I need
it's
to know.
It's supposed to be a surprise.
It's supposed to be a surprise?
You'll find out. That's
so we're on a need-to-know basis, and right now we don't need to know.
That's it.
But I gotta know, Russ.
She deleted her medical records. They were in the emails. They're gone.
Right. Oh, geez.
Gone.
And of course, the the FBI is going to give her a pass on that one too, right?
By the way, did I ever make my prediction on air? I know I did it on Twitter and on some private emails.
Are we going back on record? You going to go on record with something?
I think I might have said this last week.
I think you might have, but go
the
say it
emails
again.
were erased for a reason. And I keep on wrestling this in my head. I mean, besides the obvious reason of them extorting money from people and, through the Clinton Foundation money laundering scheme, I really do believe that Hillary has inappropriate emails in there regarding inappropriate relationships with people.
You did mention this last week. I need to know where you're getting this from.
It's my spider senses tingling. It's either Yuma.
Your spider senses your spider sense. We're going on spider sense with this one.
It's a gut instinct. It's either Uma or...
This is how rumors start,
That black guy that they're asking who he is on Drudge. One of those people, she has some bad emails in that batch that she's embarrassed
Well, let's talk about the guy on Drudge for a second.
Or health issues. It could be any of the above. But how are we going to elect someone, Gene? How are the Democrats going to elect someone with those questions that are being raised? What could be in those deleted emails? I don't know. Fill in the blank. I wish I was debating her. I wish. Because Donald Trump could just open up. I would just make up, in my opening remarks, my first few minutes in the debate, I would make up the most outrageous scenario of what was probably in those emails. And then I'd say, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that that's not what's in there. You can't, because you deleted them all.
Well, okay then. Listen, I don't know. I'm not willing to speculate on what may or may not be in those emails.
Okay, Bernie.
It could be anybody.
I mean, Baradelli.
Wow. Really? You
Did you have enough of those damn emails, too?
You going there?
About to say?
No, I didn't say I have enough of them. I'm saying I'm not willing to speculate. It could be anything in there. It could be the missing seconds of Nixon takes. It could be who really shot JFK. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Trump should open up with that in the debate. Make up some outrageous thing. And then let her defend it. What else is in there? Yoga? I'd be like, Hillary, you don't strike me as a person who does much yoga. Sorry.
So you want Trump to go to the absurd? Take it to the nth degree?
You illustrate absurdity by being absurd. Tried and true method.
Okay, I mean, listen, I not what I would do. I might want to stick to some facts. I think it would be a nice change of tact to see some facts, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, he went the fact route.
Wait a minute. Well. I see what you're doing now. You're diverting me away from my original question.
I'm sorry.
How is Hillary's health?
It's in the emails. I go back to it. Maybe it's in the emails.
You're diverting me. That's
Why doesn't he open up with that? I'd be like, look, here's my medical records. I just had them emailed over to me. That's how I would open up. I just had my email records emailed over. I had my medical records emailed over to me, and here they are. Hillary, where are yours?
Oh boy. It's going to be that kind of show. I'm keep getting diverted. You see what he's doing, folks? He's diverting me around, taking me where he wants to take me, not taking me where I want to go. It's a great debate tactic, by the way.
I mean, Trump is up 2 points in the latest CNN poll. I don't understand how
I don't believe any polls anymore. I don't believe any polls anymore. You know why? Because I truly believe, as Carrie Ann Conway, one of the new upper echelon Trump advisors, said, there are many people out there that are not willing to publicly identify themselves as Trump supporters. I don't believe any poll. And I'm not going to believe any poll until I see the ultimate poll, which is the vote tally.
I don't even know if I believe that poll.
Oh, I mean, we can get into that. We did get into that last week. We get into that
every week. I mean, I don't know if I believe that. That's probably the least reliable poll.
So, listen, folks, we got a chat room going during our live shows Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker. If you listen to us on replay or podcast or however you listen to us. In the chat room, we have our resident rhino, Amanda Kohut, saying, remember I said about her health back in 2013, 2014. No, I don't. I don't believe you.
I don't. And even if you did, big...
Just kidding, Amanda. I remember that, actually.
Great prediction. An old lady is ill. Oh, yay!
Oh, come on, man. Give credit where it's due. I do remember Amanda saying that.
All right.
Credit where it's due.
She did.
Amanda, I'm in your corner. Don't worry.
Remember what I said about 5 years ago that George Washington died?
Wow.
Big shock.
Yeah. Way to go out on a limb on that one. but in all seriousness, there's the story currently up on Drudge as we're broadcasting this show that maybe people saw this week, is the picture of who is this man? And I'm talking about a tall black gentleman.
Why does he have to be black, Gene?
Because he is, Russ. I'm not going to say he's not.
But if he was a tall white man, would you have said he was a tall white man, or would you just say he was a tall
I would have said tall white guy, absolutely. I would have said whatever he was to identify him, so people understand who I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to the Gateway Pundit. Great blog. I check it out every now and then. But it's at the top of Drudge right now asking, who is this guy that shows up every time something questionable, quote-unquote, happens with Hillary medically? When she got supposedly stuck on stage, and this guy goes on stage and starts patting her on the back and telling her that she's okay. Now shows up when she has her little coffin jag, and is Johnny on the spot then too? What? Who is he, and what's the deal there, Russ? And why hasn't the Clinton campaign even answered that? If she was sick, what's the big deal about saying, you know what, she's under the weather this week? She had 101 fever. She's feeling nasally. It's a change. I mean, whatever.
Don't you love when Behind Enemy Lines Radio turns into InfoWars right before your very eyes?
Whoa, wait a minute.
Alex Bertelli, what's going on?
Are you kidding me right now? I think these are reasonable questions. By the way, Hillary, please don't kill me. Listen. I think these are reasonable questions. He's obviously on staff, either Secret Service or paid staff or otherwise, and he shows up every now and again at questionable moments. I'm not saying there is a conspiracy there. I just like to know who he is. Booker. No, it's not Cory Booker. I know what Cory Booker looks like. You're trying to say that every black guy who's a Democrat looks alike now, Russ? No. Are you a racist now? What are you doing?
Is he a senator now in Jersey?
He's a U.S. Senator of New Jersey,
yes. Burning house and save a bunch of people on his way to work one day.
Cory Booker, I don't know the guy, but he seems like a nice guy. Whatever, I don't like his politics, but hey, listen, any guy who's willing to meet with Ted Cruz and actually sponsor legislation together with him seems to be a free thinker.
I don't see it that way. If you're a Democrat, you're dead to me. I don't even want to hear it.
Whatever. Comment in the chat room. Hillary's got a tighter spy game than Preet Bharara.
No, but you missed even a funnier one. The Life Alert.
Oh, no. There is someone did the link I'm following and I can't get up in the chat room. See, I love the snark of our fans. Good job. Same person on both of that. Wow. Amanda's on fire tonight. Good job, Amanda.
I've fallen and I can't get up. I'm with Hillary.
Is that the new campaign slogan?
I don't know. Is it?
Listen, I mean, I'm not saying that a cough is... when is a cough not a cough? When a cough comes from a presidential candidate, I guess.
Or when you cough every single time you have to speak to somebody. When was the last time she held a real press conference, Gene? Can we start that? Why don't we get that ticker going on our website?
So let's just say... We might get that ticker, but...
That's a good ticker to have.
Hillary had a semi-press conference, quote-unquote, as I'm doing the air quotes to Russell, about, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago with the Hispanic and minority journalists gathering where she actually answered questions and then the journalists in the crowd started applauding.
Yes.
I wouldn't call that a press conference so much as a rally.
That was not.
But she was answering questions from journalists. So in the strictest sense, that might be considered a press conference. I don't buy it, but I'm just saying.
Over 270 days now.
It's a while.
It's kind of insane.
I think the last time a New York politician was indicted is probably just as long as when Hillary Clinton gave her last press conference. But okay, Mr. Tinfoil Hat, what's the deal with not giving press conferences? Is that connected to this guy and her possible medical conditions and this coughing? Is it all interlinked? Do you have a bulletin board with some yarn going across it on all this?
No, I think it's pretty simple. I mean, Hillary Clinton is like one of the... You know the kind of person she is. She's one of those people that the more you get to hear from her and the more you know about her, the more you will dislike her.
Why is this so important, though? Why is it so important for Hillary to
answer questions from a free press?
No, forget about that. Why is the health question so important, and why is it being avoided right now? I mean, listen, we've had presidents who, while sitting, had to go in for procedures and things like that, and we've had transfer of power and all of that. Is this a legitimate question that voters should be asking? Or is it tinfoil hat stuff? I won't say a bad word.
8 years ago, Hillary ran a commercial that says, when that phone rings at 2 a.m., who do you want answering that phone?
It's going to be her doctor, apparently.
The way it looks, it'll be her with a heating pad on her head. And,
might be her hospice nurse?
Yeah, I mean, so who's going to answer that phone? And who the hell is this guy Tim Kaine? I mean, have you ever heard the man speak? Honestly.
I haven't heard him speak in a while. Okay. Let's put it that way.
So if you have an top of the ticket,
but I'm not
and
politically
he dies.
You know, I got contacts in politics. I know Tim Kaine, but the average American doesn't.
Nobody knows who the man is. No one.
Outside of his home state. 49 states. 49 out of 50 don't know who he is.
You don't know what he stands for. You don't know what he wants. You don't even know what Hillary stands for. She don't even know what she stands for. She dies in office. You get this guy Kaine. Nobody knows who he is. So, yes, it's a legitimate question.
I
is
think
she all right?
Well, but you know what? At the same time, man, not to put the tinfoil hat on, but it feels like we are. Is this guy significant that
I'm a
when he shows up?
7 1/4. Get me my tinfoil
All right,
hat.
I'm 7 3/4. I'm with you. My head's bigger than your head. So, yeah, I mean, the guy showing up, apparently Gateway Pundit thinks this is a big deal. And by the way, the comment about what happens when the phone rings at 3 a.m., the machine picks up and says, I'm falling and I can't get up. We got to get that clip for next week's show.
We definitely got to get that clip because it's a legitimate question, Gene. I know I'm hoping you're being facetious here.
I'm being a little facetious. But at the same time, we're analyzing CNN wrote an entire article on their website about, quote-unquote, a bipartisan guide to coughing.
Don't you think if Donald Trump started coughing every single time he spoke, that they would bring up his health? Especially if we wouldn't release his medical records. Don't you think that would be a question that would be asked?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, coughing could be a heart condition. It could be a lung condition. It could be a seizure disorder. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. What I do know is not lupus, because that's what House always said. It's never lupus. But at the same time, I mean, we don't know. And I think that's the big thing. Why don't... And I'm going to go back to the question again. Why not just address it, deal with it, and move on?
That's not the Clinton style. She'll just say, I'm not sick. And then the media will buy that, and then they will move on.
And that's probably the key. This is the Clinton playbook. Avoid, avoid, avoid. Shuck and jive. Wait for them to be an official investigation. Then connect with your friends to kind of get around the official investigation and move forward. Seems like the long way around, though.
And what do you propose that she does? She just comes out and says, I'm dying?
I don't know if she is dying. I'm assuming that if it was minor, she would come out and just say, oh, yeah, I got a case of allergies. I'm taking some Claritin and I'm good.
Prediction time.
Oh, Russ Gallo's about to go on record.
Somebody write this down.
Oh, no, you're going to write it down when you go to goonrecord.com.
In the next 8 years, and I'll let you do that plug in a second, in the 8 years, which is if a president gets lucky and gets reelected, within the next 8 years, both Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders will no longer be with us. Prediction.
All right, Russ Gallo is about to go on record with his prediction.
They're both should be put out to pasture, and it looks like they're on the sunset of their careers.
You know what? I was going to do the goonrecord.com plug here, but I'm going to let the commercials do that. When we come back, folks, we're going to have David Keene, the opinion editor of the Washington Times, coming on to talk about his new book, Shall Not Be Infringed, talking about the history of fighting for the Second Amendment. And we're going to be talking some presidential politics as well. Gene and Russ behind enemy lines. Listen to the goonrecord.com ad that you're going to hear right now. If you're a long-time listener of the show, or maybe this is your first time listening, you can probably tell that me and the gang here, we like to have our share of fun, whether it's on or off the air. We talk about 2-drink minimum radio and no medication Wednesdays or whatever day it may be. That's why when we found the people at Less Government, More Fun, we knew it was a match made in heaven with this show. Folks, we live in a time where government is out of hand. Our founding fathers did not intend government to be all-consuming in all parts of our lives. That's why we are telling you to go to lessgovmorefun.com, check out the website, check out the swag. What the people want is less government, more fun. Pass it on, make it happen.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save.
Your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org, brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Behind Enemy Lines Radio is all about being right. No, seriously, it is. If you ever listen to Russ Gallo or me go back and forth on some issue, we always want to make sure that we remember who said what and when we said it. That's why we go to goonrecord.com. It's a brand new social media website. Challenge people on what they believe, whether it's in politics, sports, entertainment, finance, whatever. There's a category for you at goonrecord.com. Check it out right now. Tell us, what do you stand for? It's time for you to go on record. Behind Enemy Lines. Back on the air. Gene Baradelli back behind Enemy Lines, and joining me on the line right now, it is an honor to welcome back to the show probably one person most responsible for the show being in existence. I tell everybody that David Keene is the reason why the show is on the map, thanks to the interviews he does for us. David, thank you for coming back on the show.
Well, it's a pleasure always to come back.
So, congratulations on this amazing new book that is coming out in October, Shall Not Be Infringed, The New Assaults on Your Second Amendment. Tell us, what made you decide to write this book?
Well, there are a couple of reasons. First of all, in the last year, President Obama has doubled down on his opposition to firearms freedom through executive orders, through reinterpretation of existing regulations and the like. And secondly, for the first time in more than a decade, the question of whether, in fact, the Second Amendment should be allowed to continue to exist as it is, or whether a future Supreme Court might abolish it or gut it, is on the table and is important this year as the elections approach.
It's scary to think that gutting the Second Amendment and changing it as we know it is on the table.
That's exactly right.
And believe what you're referring to is Hillary Clinton's statements of how past Supreme Court decisions on the Second Amendment were, quote-unquote, wrong. This is a first for a presidential candidate, right?
It is, and it's like everything a Clinton says, her language has to be parsed very carefully because she said, well, I don't want to abolish the Second Amendment. No, she doesn't necessarily want to have it erased from the Bill of Rights. She just wants the Supreme Court to reinterpret it so it's meaningless. The Supreme Court, in the decision you're referring to, the Heller decision in 2008, finally said that Americans have an individual right to own a firearm for self-protective purposes in their home. Mrs. Clinton said, along with the people who argued against that position, that there is no such thing as an individual right for Americans to own a firearm, and that she thought it was wrongly decided. If that decision were reversed, the constitutional right to own a firearm as a private individual would vanish. She'd still have to, as president, go to Congress and do other things to try and get rid of it, but the presumption that Americans have such a right would be stricken from the books, regardless of whether the language was erased from the Bill of Rights or not.
It's a scary proposition. And, of course, this is probably, at least for me, the one reason why I'm compelled to vote for Donald Trump, because the alternative of what happens on the Supreme Court if a Clinton administration comes into existence is, I don't even want to think about it.
Right, it's not just firearms rights. It's the First Amendment, it's the Fourth Amendment. The so-called progressives that now dominate the Democratic Party, a Democratic Party which has moved far to the left since her husband was president, would change the Constitution not just to abolish firearms ownership, but to restrict speech, to restrict the right to practice religion, and do many of the other things that Americans, since the founding of the Republic, have felt they had a right to do. So this really is an election. People talk about how this election's important or that election's important. This one is important because if the Supreme Court is changed in the way that Hillary Clinton would change it, by appointing a progressive liberal to the court, and perhaps as many as 2 or 3 because of the age of some of the justices, we're talking about altering the Constitution for at least a generation. And history tells us that once you give up rights, you rarely get them back. David,
talk a little bit about your co-author on this book, Thomas Mason, who brings more of an international perspective into the collaboration that you guys have created. Because it's interesting to me because that's usually what Democrats do. It's usually out of the Democratic playbook, out of the liberal playbook, to use international viewpoints as a way to shame America, to make Americans feel like they do things better over there. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, there are 2 reasons why the international perspective is so important, and Tom has followed firearms negotiations and international treaties and the like for more than 15 years. The 2 reasons are, first of all, exactly what you mentioned. The Supreme Court today, with people like Stephen Breyer on the court, believe that we as a country and the Supreme Court of our country should not just be cognizant of, but should give weight to the opinions of other countries and courts in other countries and to treaties whether or not we've signed them. And so the arms trade treaty that the Obama administration signed, well, it hasn't even been sent to Congress because they know the Senate will not ratify it, is already beginning to be used as an argument by the administration for taking steps to restrict firearms in ways that they would not otherwise be able to do. Secondly, and this has gone on for a couple of decades, the anti-gun movement in this country has failed in Congress time and again. It's failed in most states other than in some one-party states where it's been able to push its agenda rather effectively. And it's failed in the courts. Witness the Heller decision in 2008. So some years ago, they began to shift to the international arena, thinking perhaps there are things that we can accomplish through the Supreme Court's deference to foreign laws on the one hand and the President's treaty ability on the other that will allow us to go around Congress and the people to get some of the restrictions that we can't get either in the legal or political forums in the United States. And that's what this is all about, and that's why it's so important.
And the book also addresses the battlefront at home, which may be in the courts in the future, but it is really in the court of public opinion. Talk about how you've seen polls and studies and numbers get twisted and turned around by the left.
Well, maybe if it weren't so tragic, the most humorous thing was that in the post-Sandy Hook period, Mayor Bloomberg's people and one of his groups did a bus tour of the United States. And on the side of the bus, they listed the people who had died from gun violence. Now, of course, 2/3 of those people are people who committed suicide. But they also include everyone killed in confrontations with the police, and most outrageously and famously, the people who bombed the Boston Marathon, because one of them, of course, died as the result of police gunfire. They stopped at one town, and somebody recognized the name, and all heck broke loose, and finally they had to apologize and pull it off. But they've used polls that purportedly say a certain percentage of NRA members support them on this. The NRA doesn't release its list of membership, so there's really no way for them to even get the universe from which they purport to draw their sample. Polls are really interesting because you can influence the outcome by the way you ask the question. And most of the polls that you see in the public arena on gun question are polls that have been commissioned by groups, for example, former Mayor Bloomberg's group, that are set up to make a point and to come up with a finding that they predetermine before they even ask the questions. So you have to ask yourself, who's doing this, why, and what is it that they're going to accomplish? There is an example that in the public relations field, they have managed, or they argue, that the nation, as they put it, is awash in blood. That the increase in the number of firearms available to the public has resulted in massive increases in homicide and the like. In the last couple of decades, the number of homicides in this country, even with the breakdown because of failed policies in some of our major cities, even with that breakdown, the homicide rate has been cut in half at the same time that gun ownership has increased by 2.5 times. So if their logic was right, you would expect the streets to be flowing in blood, but they're not, because there's no causal relationship between gun ownership in the hands of citizens to defend themselves, to hunt, to engage in sporting, shooting, and the like, and the crime rate. The crime rate is not gun violence, it's gun crime. And we know how to deal with that, but they don't want to. What they want to do, because to them, the mere existence of firearms is somehow offensive, they want to go after honest citizens that own firearms rather than the criminals who steal them, buy them on the black market, and misuse them.
Last question before we let you go. Donald Trump got into some hot water with the media, who I think is complicit in this narrative that you were just talking about, especially when you think like Katie Couric's documentary, quote unquote, where they selectively edit responses from pro-gun advocate. Donald Trump is the messenger right now. He got into a little trouble when he talked about NRA voters earlier in the cycle. Are you concerned at all that the message will be lost with this messenger at the head of the movement? I don't think so, because first of all, the response to what he said revealed more about the people interpreting as they did than about what he said. What he said was that even if the Supreme Court, even if she appoints people to the Supreme Court, the NRA knows how to handle these things. And so
people that were A, anti-Trump, and B, anti-gun, and C, think that that all gun owners are crazy lunatics, said he's urging them to kill Hillary Clinton. No, he was saying that the NRA has fought these battles. We fight them in the courts. We fight them in the legislatures, in the states, in the Congress, and internationally, and we've won a lot more of them than we've lost. And that's the same thing that you or I might say, because if she manages to appoint somebody like this to the Supreme Court, and they make it legal for Congress to say ban gun ownership in the extreme, Congress still has to pass that. And we know how to fight that kind of thing on the policy grounds as well as on the constitutional grounds. So, there has been mischaracterization and the picking out of people and the parsing of language to make it look like something that it isn't over decades by these folks. And at the end of the day, it doesn't work out. And it doesn't work out because the American people get it. After the Sandy Hook thing and after that whole fight for increased gun regulation, I was a liberal blogger went on and said, why is it that we get so excited and at the end of the day more people support private gun ownership than did when the fight began? And more people support private gun ownership in the Second Amendment because they get it. Unlike these folks, they get it. They know what freedom is about. And firearms ownership, the Second Amendment, the equation, the equating of that freedom with the very freedoms that we enjoy is part of the American DNA. When those soldiers, the British soldiers, confronted the folks on the Concord Bridge, most Americans know what they were doing. The British were coming to take their guns and their ammunition, and the Americans wouldn't stand for it. We wouldn't stand for it then, and I don't think we'll stand for it now.
Well, I certainly hope so. I echo your sentiment. Folks, if there was ever a timely publication coming out, it shall not be infringed. The new assaults on your Second Amendment. It comes out in October. It's already available on pre-order with Amazon. It's going to be available as an ebook. Very easy to get your hands on it. I highly recommend picking up because I know that I know David not as well as others do, but what I do know of David, he is one of the most honest, forthright, and intelligent people in the conservative movement. And David, like I said, I'm forever grateful for all that you've ever done for me in the show, and we're happy to help out with this book. And anything else that you need us to do, please let me know.
Thank you very much, and I'll come on anytime you'd like.
If you want to rob a bank or run a red light, then there's something you should do first that'll make it all right. You can break any law without any oversight if you change your last name to Clinton. You can lie to the feds or just act like a jerk. Make a crap ton of money without doing any work. Plus, you can sleep with your staff as an added perk if you change your last name to Clinton. The SEC, the FBI, the House of Representatives, they just don't apply. You can have all of your enemies mysteriously die if you change your last name to Clinton. Sell special favors to the communist Chinese. Charge $100 million for some speaking fees. Tell that sexy intern to get down on her knees. You can do it if your last name is Clinton. Collect lots of cash through your private foundation. Store top secret info in an unsecure location. And somehow secure the Democratic nomination. You can do it if your last name is Clinton. Nothing to it if your last name is Clinton. Oh, it's against the law? Screw it. Your last name is Clinton.
Wasn't that a nice way to come back from break, Russ? Isn't that amazing right there?
Is it true that was you playing the ukulele?
That was not me playing the ukulele. I can't even spell ukulele.
That's funny.
It's definitely not me. We're right around halftime on the show here, folks. I want to thank everybody for listening to Behind Enemy Lines Radio. I'm Gene, he's Russ. And while we got you listening, be sure to check us out at www.behindenemylinesradio.us. Check us out on the Facebooks and the Twitters at BEL_radio. And of course, as we do in every show, we shout out to all of our affiliates, including WJHC 107.5 FM in beautiful Jasper, Florida. We're going to get out and visit there one day, Russ. WDDQ 92.1 FM in Adel, Georgia. Both of them are part of the Red Nation Rising Radio Network. They got a bus touring around Georgia right now, Russ. all throughout the state, going to big events, football games and everything. It's fantastic. We're so proud to be a part of it.
I wasn't invited on this bus.
Well, that's because we know how you are. We're also on KLRN Radio, High Plains Talk Radio, and Sackheads Media, ICRN, the Internet's conservative radio network, and of course Lanterns Radio. And by the way, if you miss us on any one of those rebroadcast times, and they're on our network listings page at www.behindthelinesradio.us, you can check us out on any one of our rebroadcast outlets, including Spreaker, iTunes, Player FM, Podbay, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. Them's the plugs.
Wow.
Let's get back to it.
We also do a rehash every Friday night at Joe's Bar. If anybody's interested, come on down.
Joe's Bar.
It's usually a 6 or
It's
7
an institution
hour
nowadays when we go down there. It's great. Listen, I want to thank David Keene. Everyone's going to pick up his book, Shall Not Be Infringed. It's coming out, I believe, in hardcover in October. I think October 11th is the date he told me. But it should be out as an ebook, and you can pre-order it now on Amazon. Check it out. It's a great work, guys. David Keene is one of the patron saints of Behind Enemy Lines Radio Network. Like we said, we gave him the bump to get on O'Reilly and all that. And he actually took our tape was picked up by O'Reilly. Here's the story. We did an interview with David Keene. It got picked up nationally. Kind of put us our real big first impression on everybody. It was pretty cool. Had a lot of great points, Russ, and he reaffirmed why I'm voting for Trump. And in case there are people out there, never Trump people, and they're doubting all that, recognize the battle. It may not necessarily be the presidency. It may be a generation of conservatism that's at stake here. Because when you're talking about the vacancy on the Supreme Court that's remaining right now, the Scalia seat, and seats that will be vacant in the next 4 to 8 years coming down the road, you may see a dramatic reversal of Supreme Court jurisprudence if Clinton becomes President of the United States. It's scary, Russ, when you think about it. The Heller decision that we were talking about with David is just one of them. One of the decisions.
I mean, it's very scary, and the Supreme Court is one major concern. But let's just... You said forget about the presidency.
It's the tipping point for me. It's the tipping point for me.
But it shouldn't even be. Anybody who looks at this objectively at this point, you might not be happy with Donald Trump, but the same people weren't happy with George Bush, and there was a whole other group of people not happy with Mitt Romney. Look what's in the balance here. We're talking about the Second Amendment. That's one thing. Maybe that's not your issue. Who cares? All right, cool. Supreme Court makes lots of other decisions that affect us all. All right, maybe the Supreme Court doesn't really tickle your fancy either, so put that whole thing aside.
Doesn't float your boat.
But is deficit spending not important to you? Is the national defense not important to you? Is immigration not important to you? Is being fearful of speaking your mind, utilizing the First Amendment and being afraid of political correctness not important to you? Is the killing of police officers at an historic rate not important to you? These are the things that are happening right now and are going to get worse if Hillary Clinton gets elected. So anyone like Mark Levin or any of these guys sitting on the sidelines bashing Trump, what other choice do we have? When you look at these two candidates, as flawed as they both are, there's no contest here.
You know what? I was giving you space to do I was giving you your safe space to rant. I wanted to jump in there a few times. I agree with you. To me, yes, economics is night and day. We talked about with Steve Beeman last week. It's night and day, the two different policies. Who creates jobs, who destroys jobs, who relies on government, who relies on private enterprise. Obviously, we know what the answers are there. Economics is obviously very important. Everybody needs to pay the mortgage and all that. But to see 20 years down the line how the country's going to be versus how it's going under each presidency, you gotta side with Trump. I mean, put aside the whole Hillary coffin jag. Put aside the whole, question about her health. Put aside the dishonesty and all that. At the end of the day, she's going to appoint liberal justices that are going to restrict private rights and increase government power. And it's the most lasting... everyone wants to discount the Supreme Court. They have the most lasting effect on political culture, in my opinion.
And they do, Gene, and I agree with you. But... your average person, maybe they don't know what's going on with the Supreme Court.
And that's the problem.
And it is a problem, but I'm talking about the more glaring issues. We're $20 trillion in debt, Gene. $20 trillion. And still going. And Hillary Clinton's big platform issue is free college tuition for all? I mean, that's insanity. Where is this money coming from? She said she's going to raise taxes. The economy's struggling. Her plan is to raise the capital gains tax For you idiots out there that know what a capital gains tax is, in a capitalist society, you need something called capital. And when you start taxing capital, you get less of it. So businesses don't grow, they don't expand, and they don't hire people. So raising those taxes is insane when you have a sluggish economy. $20 trillion in debt. Free college tuition for all. How does that make sense? It's basically free now. It's basically free now. You're either getting a low interest rate student loan, financial aid, or you can afford to go to college. Or guess what? Not everybody needs to go to college, Gene. Not everybody does.
Pick up a trade.
How many people in New York City are not even graduating high school, for God's sake? And we're talking about sending them all to college. They can't even handle 11th grade algebra. And we're talking about sending them to college. For what? To do women's studies? To do minority history classes and major in that? What are we sending them there for?
You know, you just reminded me of a class going on at Binghamton University right now, here in the People's Republic of New York State. They're teaching this I'm looking it up right now as we're talking. There's an anti-white class or a pro-black class that's being taught up there right now. And it's called Stop White People is the name of the course. That's what people are going to college for right now.
Listen, that's what we need.
That's going to solve the country.
Transgender studies. I hopefully if I ever have a kid, he'll major in that and get a nice career doing. I don't know what you could do with that degree. Tell me.
Get that sociology degree,
but it'll be free. It'll be free because all you idiots listening to us are going to be paying for it. Thank you.
And then they'll get their $15 an hour job at McDonald's, and we'll move on. But those are the people that are going to be shaping this country with their votes, Russ.
Stay home in November. Do me a favor. Stay home in November. Don't vote for Trump out of some stupid pride that you people listening to me have. Go ahead and don't vote for Trump. Sit on the sidelines and say, well, I'm not voting for Hillary. I'm just not going to vote for Trump. Yeah, let's see how that works out. Go ahead and do that, please.
Well, the people who are going to be shaping the minds of the people who are going to be voting were announced today, Russ.
Who are these people?
We're talking about the people who are going to be moderating the debates that are going to be scheduled. We've got 3 presidential debates, 1 vice presidential debate, all broken up through the network.
I don't think these debates are going to happen, but go ahead.
I know that's one of your predictions. So it was announced that the first debate will be moderated by NBC's Lester Holt. The second debate will be moderated by Martha Raddatz of ABC and Anderson Cooper of CNN. The third debate will be Chris Wallace from Fox News. And Ileana Quijano from CBS News will do the vice presidential debate.
Wow, we got the best of the B squad out there, huh? Never heard of any of these people, Gene.
Well, you've heard of Chris Wallace.
I heard of Chris Wallace.
But we were watching, let's say, we were watching Fox News before the show, and a great joke was made about how they broke it up ethnically between... there's a black anchor, a female anchor, a gay anchor, a Hispanic anchor, and a Fox News anchor.
So a Fox News anchor has his own demographic?
Yeah, apparently it's the rich white guy demographic, Russ. Don't you know that? That's how it's broken down. And there you go.
Never Trump. What sense does that make? I can't get over this. I really can't.
I hear you.
I want to jump through the radio and strangle Mark Levin almost every night.
Well, we don't want to talk about hurting the competition, Russ. That might come back to haunt us later on and see something happen.
This guy, Russ, he deserves whatever he gets.
Can't threaten the competition. That's not how you get to the top.
I'm just saying that's the feeling I have. When I hear this guy and others talk about how they're not sure they can vote for Trump. I mean, that's insanity. Insanity.
If you believe in conservatism, how do you not vote for Trump? Where do you go if you're not voting for Trump? Where do you go? Are you going to go to Gary Johnson, who had a tirade with National Review talking about don't call illegal immigrants illegal immigrants? Who are you going to go to?
Gary Johnson is a buffoon.
He's a useful idiot.
He's a moron.
And haven't met the guy. Great guy, nice guy. Useful idiot in politics.
Listen, he's an idiot. How about just idiot?
Okay, I'll listen. I've met the guy. I don't want to disparage him because he might find me and say, "Hey, you said this about me."
Tell him
because we all know that Gary Johnson listens to the show.
Tell him I said it.
No problem.
Idiots. What an idiot.
But I'm trying to understand. What are you gonna do? Just sit home? Is that the plan, to just pout and sit home? That's the
we
idea?
should. Honestly, I hope that they do. I hope they sit home. I hope that more illegals come in. I hope that more Americans suffer at the hand of these criminals that are coming in. I hope that we spend ourselves into bankruptcy. I hope that our military collapses. I hope that police departments all across the country stop doing their job.
Yes. What if the military stayed home? What if the police stayed home?
I hope they take the Second Amendment away, and then when they figure out they don't like the First Amendment, they take that away from you, and then the Fourth Amendment, they don't like that when they take that from you, and the Supreme Court just makes the laws as they go. I hope all these things happen, because you know what? It's time for Americans
and then they'll learn. And then they'll
come home to roost, as I think Barack Obama's pastor once said about America.
Hey, we just got a comment on Facebook from someone listening to the show saying, why keep calling people idiots who can't get behind Trump?
Because you're an idiot. How about that? Whoever that is on Facebook, and I don't even have Facebook, if you don't get behind Trump at this point...
That's our friend Watson, who's host of the show on some of the networks we're on.
Well,
you know what?
If the shoe fits, that's all I'm going to say. Who are you getting behind at this point? Ted Cruz ain't running anymore, people. I don't know if you caught that. Marco Rubio's in Florida. He's not running anymore. Who are you behind at this point? Who's left? I'm not the smartest guy in the room.
Well, okay, there's a joke there somewhere, but I'm not doing it.
Who's left?
Exactly. And this we got into this argument back in June with some friends last time we were in D.C. And we were all sitting around a table drinking a few, talking about, well, what are you going to do? And it was a lot of talk about principle, and then no answer about what you're going to do. The answer is stay home.
Don Rumsfeld, Secretary of Defense, once said...
Oh, here we go. I love this quote.
You go to war with the army you got, not the army you wish you got. And right now, folks, like it or not, Donald Trump is our army. That's all we got left. You go to war with it. You can wish for something better. And maybe in 4 or 8 years, you'll get something better. But the primary process got us this candidate. That's it.
But in those 4 to 8 years, what happens to this nation? A lot of bad things can happen, especially, like I said, economic policy, Second Amendment, Supreme Court.
We're done. It doesn't matter. Listen.
What are you going to do then?
Glenn Beck, before he completely went insane, said something that I thought was kind of brilliant. He said either way, both parties are going to socialism. Both of them, the Republicans and the Democrats.
I was about to go there, but yes, it's either you're going there on the express train or on the local track.
The bullet train with the Democrats, or you could take the old steam locomotive with the Republicans. Either way, the destination's the same. It's just that if you go Republican, you're going to buy yourself a little bit more time. So, make your choice. I mean, you're not getting behind Trump right now. I'm glad I don't have a Facebook account, Gene, because I'd be caught up arguing with people all day long on that thing. And I'm just glad I don't have it.
Okay. So, our friend Watson, commenting on Facebook right now, is saying, you do not win people calling them idiots and stupid. My choice is to write in whoever I choose, period. I'll make the statement that I will not settle for a person I cannot get behind. Neither Trump, nor Clinton, nor Johnson. That's the response.
That's brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
I love how Russ Gallo is having a Facebook argument without even being on Facebook right now. This is beautiful.
It's brilliant. I mean...
I love it. I love this. The power of social media right here. You don't even need a Facebook account to get into Facebook arguments anymore. How do you do it? This has got to be a Gallo thing.
I can't even dissect the logic of
I'm going to... Listen, I'm giving you my phone so you can read it yourself.
I don't want it. What's the logic? So I'm gonna throw the election to Hillary Clinton. I mean, is that the logic? What logic is that?
Or you're throwing it to Donald Trump. I mean, who are you throw? If you do not vote for anyone on the ballot, are you giving the election to Hillary? And how do you figure that?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you figure?
Let's say there were only 3 people in the country that were eligible to vote, Gene. 2 of which were Republican, 1 was a Democrat. Okay. Let's say there were only 3. I'm going to keep the numbers simple for the idiots listening. There are only 3 registered voters in the entire United States.
How to Win Friends and Influence People by Russ Gallo. I love it.
All of them are alive, and all of them are eligible to vote. 2 are Republican, and 1 is Democrat. The 2 Republicans argue over the candidate that was selected in that primary process and stay home. They would have won with 66.6% of the vote had they both voted, but they stood home.
So it's the Bart Simpson school
by
campaigning.
Default, the person with 1/3 of support will win the election if there were only 3 voters.
1 for Martin, 2 for Martin.
Now expand that out nationwide in the current situation we're in, and it makes sense. You're an idiot if you don't vote. That's it. By not voting, you're voting for Hillary Clinton. What more do I need to say?
What about just voting absentee, writing in Gene Baradelli?
Yeah,
if
sure.
you want to,
write me in then. Yeah, go ahead. You're still throwing your vote away. What sense does it make?
Okay.
What sense does it make?
Well, you know, in New York, it kind of makes sense if you're in New York City and you know that the state's going to go for Hillary anyway, and if your state's a lost cause, I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, a
When you
presidential
get
election,
Rachel Maddow on the Supreme Court, in a couple of years,
you get Barack Obama on the Supreme Court.
Think about how your choice of not voting turned out for everyone, not just you.
I love this. Oh wait, is there another? There's another comment coming in on the line.
Lord.
Actually, it's not really a comment constructive comment. It's just he's rolling on the floor, laughing his butt off.
All right. Well,
there you go.
I guess if simple math and logic makes people laugh, then I'm a comedian tonight.
And there you have it. Let's do some final thought stuff. What you got a final thought for us? I know you're frustrated. And listen, I'll get out the Jack after the show, and we'll talk it out. We'll have one of our normal therapy sessions. Oh wait, another comment. Hang on. You sound like the Gestapo by forcing a person not to vote their conscience.
I'm the Gestapo.
Here's your final thought, Russ. Time.
So
final thought for you right now.
You
Go
call
for it.
me, of all people, the Gestapo, and yet you won't vote against Hillary Clinton for the only person who has a chance to win. All right. I guess that makes sense. So my final thought has nothing to do with this because I'm tired of arguing with lunatics.
You're getting tired of arguing on Facebook without even having an account.
So anybody who's seen the Rob Lowe...
Wait, whoa. Russ Gallow's doing a pop culture reference? The Comedy Central roast or whatever it was?
Well, the only reason why I watched that Comedy Central roast was Ann Coulter was on it, so I thought it would be cool.
Oh, okay. This might be a sign of the apocalypse, folks. Russ Gallo does not do pop culture. But
Ann Coulter was abused. First of all, I really don't know what Ann was thinking. It was kind of silly for her to be on it. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go. It's on replay a million times like they do all their roasts. So go online on their website. I'm sure it's on there. And watch it. It was truly disgraceful the way they treated her. If it was a group of conservatives that bashed a liberal the way they bashed Ann Coulter, they did the same thing that this guy just did to me. He called me part of the Gestapo. They called her Hitler and a bunch of other stuff. Truly disgraceful. I don't know what she was doing there.
It's a roast.
But she's not a comedian. And her jokes were awful. And she was awful. So, I mean, it was a two-way street.
So, bad job by her publicist. Put her
I don't know what she was doing there. It was painful to watch. Big mistake. She made conservatives look like idiots and kind of petty. And I really don't know what she was doing there. Embarrassing. I could have wrote better jokes.
And that's saying a lot.
Maybe you could write in Ann Coulter for president, if that makes you feel better.
That makes you feel a little better, sure. So listen, my final thought is, I'm telling you what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going outside of Fox News with a stack of business cards, and I'm handing them out to every female who walks in the door or out the door, or walks around the building. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the floodgates have opened at Fox News. Word this week of a $20 million settlement of Gretchen Carlson's sexual harassment claim. By the way, that's more money than Freddie Gray's family and Eric Garner's family got combined from the respective municipalities. It looks like Fox News, that kind of money might be an admission of guilt that Roger Ailes was sexually harassing people. But listen, on deck, Andrea Tantaros, who was left Fox News as well. Possibly Megyn Kelly, who knows? She was vocal about this. But
good riddance.
Greta Van Susteren is out the door because Roger Ailes is out the door. And there was a hint today that there may be some litigation coming down the line for that as well. So could this be the end of the Fair and Balanced Network? Your guess is as good as mine, but
no,
I'm going to go see what business I can drum up down there tomorrow.
No, I don't know. I just want to comment on that, Jeff. I see we have a few minutes left here.
Well, of course we do.
I'm troubled when people accept money to make alleged criminal activity go away.
Well, it's not criminal sexual harassment. I mean, it's not like harassment in the penal code. It's hello, honey, hello, baby, hello, sweetie.
I just don't know. It depends on how far the sexual harassment allegedly went.
I mean, it could be, yes.
I'm just troubled by when money gets thrown around, all is well and ends well, and it becomes. I just think it's odd to me. If it's such a horrific thing, and anyone who's been to a human resources briefing at a new job knows that they drill this in your head, that's the worst possible thing in the world. But then if you get a few bucks thrown your way, it just goes. I just don't get it. If someone really did something that violated me, Gene, I'd want to see them.
You'd go to trial,
prosecuted. I want to go through the judicial system. I don't know. Seems odd to me.
Well, there you have it. Things are getting odd at Fox News, and if allegations turn out to be true, or if this is indeed an admission of guilt, expect a shakeup. And this is the wrong time for a shakeup there. You know?
Fox News?
Fox News, yeah.
No, it's
wrong
time to shake that place up.
All right. Well, Fox News is going to get shaken up, and we're going to...
Kelly to go.
Oh, you're going there?
Listen.
You want to go there?
And even Hannity, I'm done with him. I'm glad to see Brit Hume is coming back.
Brit Hume coming back to On the Record, yes, this week.
He's actually slightly more attractive than Greta Van Susteren.
And with that comment, as I was about to say, it's time to shut this sucker down. Rush, you ready to shut it down or what here?
Brit Hume has a better chance of getting sexually harassed at Fox News than Greta Van Susteren ever did. Shut it down, Jim.
Oh, I can't believe we got that last one in. Folks, next week, Dan Gaynor coming back behind Enemy of the Headlines, and we'll be back with some interviews from Value Voters Summit. So until next week, we are out of here.
Vote Trump, don't be an idiot.
Good night, folks.
Our position's been compromised. It's time to roll out. Report for debriefing at www.behindenemylinesradio.us and look for regular communications via Facebook and Twitter at BEL_radio. You are the resistance. Behind Enemy Lines. A Rock Radio production. Copyright 2016.